everyone, and welcome to Daily Space for today, March 27th, 2019. So, before we get into it too much, A, I need to know how my audio is, and B, there is deconstruction happening across the street, and I can do 0 things about this. So, I'm going to explain the deconstruction and why I'm not upset about it. Hey, audio has lots of gain. Okay, well, let me fix that. Alright, let's see if that's better. To get the dogs in frame. So, yeah, this is a little off topic for Daily Space, but I am going to explain the deconstruction and why I'm not upset by it. I'm not even annoyed by it. So, Youngstown, Ohio is part of the Rust Belt. There used to be a lot of steel production here, and there no longer is steel production. There hasn't been steel production here my entire life. So I think the last plant in the entire Youngstown metropolitan area closed in 2003. Anyways, so yeah, we are a shrinking city. And that means that a lot of people move out of the area and that there are a lot of homes that never get resold. And they just sit empty and abandoned, which is sad. But unlike some other cities that just let them sit there, Youngstown actively knocks them down. So it takes a little while. The house that they're knocking down today has been empty since 2011. And in the last few years, somebody's broken into it, broken out a bunch of glass. So before for several years it looked okay. And then within the last couple years it looked really terrible. And yeah, they're knocking it down and it's going to be a nice empty lot. And after they're done, they're going to plant grass seed and it's just going to be an empty lot. So then anybody that wants to can buy that empty lot. So yeah, that's what's going on with the deconstruction noises. I can't do anything about it, but just know that it is a positive thing. So, alright. And as Hanny says, that is probably for the best. Empty houses can be used for nefarious purposes. Yes, what happens in the area is that they are typically broken into, all the copper is stripped, and then they're just kind of left to rot. And nobody wants to look at rotting houses. Everybody would rather see empty lots. So, yeah. So that's what's going on with that. Alright, so let me find all my correct windows, and let's get at it. We have a lot of things going on today. And yeah, a lot of things going on today. So, there are something like between earlier today and next week, there's something total of 4 launches. One of them has already happened, and the one that has already happened is OneSpace. This is China's first private space company. So yeah, they launched a rocket this morning. And have a Cheerio, Tinker. They launched a rocket this morning and it wasn't successful. Somebody did actually catch video for it, so let me find the video. So it'll take me just a little bit. And while I find the video, they cannot use these empty houses to house the homeless because the empty houses are beyond repair. Alright, cool. Here's the video. So now I need to tab over so I can play it. And this is... rewind it. And this was captured on a cell phone from the launch site. I don't know a whole lot of other information about it, but I thought you guys would find it interesting. Alright, there goes the rocket. As they hide the camera from the military. Alright, and you'll see it soon. So everything looks right, okay? So, I think where that gap is... Yes, I know, dogs! I think where that gap was where the first stage separated, and then after that, it just doesn't look right. That is indeed the wrong direction, Hannies. And yeah, it should not look like that. I can't understand what they're saying, but no, it should not look like that. At all. Indeed, Jondra, there's too much wiggle in that smoke trail. I don't know what caused it. Let me just close that. I don't know what caused it. They did not release any official explanation. It failed. So that's a little unfortunate. This was supposed to be its maiden flight. It was marked as like the maiden flight, also as a test flight. It was going to have its real first payload attached, and I have no idea what happened to the payload. I don't know what happened to the other rocket bits, and I don't know if we'll ever know. So, but yeah, that wiggle shouldn't happen. Hinny asked, what was special about the OneSpace rocket? I know it used solid fuel, and it was essentially the first private commercial Chinese venture to get into space. So that's really all I know about it. It was supposed to launch, it did launch, and it just... And because I don't read or understand Chinese, I can't really pick up anything in that video. As Lady Pembroke says, OneSpace of China failed to become the first private launch firm to place a satellite in orbit after its loss of the solid launch vehicle Wednesday. Yeah. And yeah, the sound wasn't the best sample. It was very windy. They tried. I'm sure they learned something, so best of luck to them for the next time. Alright, so that was the launch that happened today. Tomorrow, not today, tomorrow, finally, maybe, is the R3 D2 launch by RocketLab. It'll be tomorrow, March 28th at 22:30 UTC. That's 16:30 or not 16:30, excuse me, 18:30 or 6:30 p.m. East Coast, and 15:30 or 3:30 p.m. West Coast. We've talked about it before. Here's a picture of it. I don't know what happened to the last one, and a number of you have already seen this, but I'm going to show it off again because I can. No, UTC? I said UTC! It's 22 UTC. Oh no, I'm moving the doggy cam, but it doesn't matter. Here, look at part of the thing while I reach for the other thing. Because I am so prepared. Alright. So here's half of the Captain molecule. And give me a second to put it back together because the bonds are strained. And because the bonds are strained, and this is essentially a plastic, I'm trying to maintain my Lego chemistry pieces. Alright. So a number of you seen this before. This is like the latest, new, improved version where you can easily see the colors. So black is carbon, white is hydrogen, these tiny white balls. Blue is nitrogen, red is oxygen. And this first part is pretty much a single tri-ring thing. It has like a benzene ring in the middle and two strained pentagon rings, and then another benzene ring And connected to an oxygen is the last benzene ring. So this is a model of the polymer captain, which is what makes up that antenna for R3D2. We will be streaming this launch, and I think they don't start their coverage as early as some of the other places. So I will probably start coverage by 6 p.m. Eastern. So that's 10 p.m. UTC and 3 p.m. West Coast. So, yeah. The little black ones. I know. So, but yeah, that's a pretty cool they are a really cool model, and I like now that I have the larger balls around them because it makes it easier to see the individual molecules. So I think the next atom molecule I'll make is for solid fuel, because solid fuel. All right, so yeah, that's launching tomorrow, and the next launch, with no time yet, so this may slide or get pushed back. Next launch is by Arianespace, scheduled for the 29th, and it is for O3b, or Oscar 3 Bravo, which stands for Other 3 Billion. So be 4 of those satellites. The Other 3 Billion is refers to the population of the world where broadband internet isn't currently available when they started this project. So there are currently 16 in orbit, 13 in operation. This launch will bring the total to 20, with 17 in operation. Here is a coverage map, which I thought was really cool. The little green dots, which are hard to see, are the satellite positioning. The red or orange is where there's satellite coverage, and the yellow is where there is no satellite coverage. These satellites orbit around the equator, and they are definitely focusing on getting coverage in Africa. I know, Tinker, I know. A whole bunch of different network things attached to this. Everything from the little satellite internet things to cell phones even. So yeah. Yeah, it is a good chunk of Africa. It is a very good chunk of Africa. And essentially with adding the more satellites, it'll just push these satellites all closer together, so there'll be more of the red coverage and less of the orange, which is good. So yeah. No, sorry, like Arctic-ish areas, you don't get coverage. Yeah, Mexico's pretty covered by this, so is like Central America. A good chunk of Brazil is covered, but not entirely in the red. And pretty much, actually, yeah, all of South America, except for the very bottom bits of what I think is Argentina and Chile. What speed is this? I don't remember what the speed is, but the red means that's where they have coverage, like, all the time. Orange is where they have coverage most of the time, and yellow is no coverage. Blue is where the ocean is. So, I don't remember how fast they travel, and I had posted maybe I didn't post it in a public channel. On Discord, I had posted a graphic simulation of how fast they traveled, and it was pretty quick. So, yeah. So for other geeky info about these satellites, which here's a picture of 2 of them with people for scale. I know, they're big, aren't they, Tinker? So each of these is 700 kilograms. That's 450 2-liter bottles. As I'm throwing Cheerios at the dogs, thank you for all your bits and things. They are at an altitude of just over 8,000 kilometers, which is actually less than a quarter of the altitude of geostationary satellites, which significantly reduces the latency. What else? I'm looking at my notes. They claim it's fiber equivalent connectivity. And yeah, so that's about that. Any area within 45 degrees north or south of the equator. So yeah, the polar regions don't get any love. So, yeah. I know you don't like the deconstruction sounds, but we do. We want the deconstruction sounds. Alright, so that's on the 29th. The launch after that is on the 30th, hopefully, and I don't have a whole lot of information on this launch. China is going to be launching a new constellation for data relay, which I don't fully understand what that is. It is supposed to launch on the 30th at 16:30 UTC. That's just afternoon at 12:30 East Coast and 9:30 a.m. West Coast. There will probably not be coverage of this. If you know of a stream, for this, please tell me. I would love to stream Chinese launches, but we generally have to use unofficial video because that's just how China works. So, this whole new generation data relay, it is for tracking and measuring medium and low orbiting satellites, real-time forwarding of remote sensing and telemetry data for Earth observation satellites, undertaking communication data transmission relay services for manned spacecraft, and meeting military special needs. So that's what that is. I will answer questions. Keep adding me with your questions, and I'll answer the ones that I don't get to at each segment at the very end. So Hanny asks, how many launch locations does China have? They launch all the time. They have at least 2, and it might be 3 or 4. I don't know that, but I can tell you how many toilets China has burned up in the atmosphere. That answer is 6. No, 7. 7. That answer is 7. Jandra says China has 3 launch sites. Thank you. All right, so that's China, and the last launch within this week of coverage is ISRO has a launch on Monday. Yeah, this will be their 2nd launch of the year. And, let's see, they are going to launch April 1st at, oh my, almost 4 a.m. UTC, which here on the East Coast is just before midnight on March 31st. And which is East Coast time. West Coast time has it a bit easier, just before 9. So I will probably stream this. I hesitate to make any promises, but we'll see. I think this will be streamed. So this is the their largest rocket. This will be the first flight of that largest rocket with the 4 SRBs, Sierra Romeo Bravo, which is the same thing that was on the space shuttle. So it is going to launch EMISAT and 28 other foreign satellites. So, and sorry, the rest of my notes are on this page. So EMISAT is developed by India's Defense Research. Hey, I know. A development organization, and is intended for electromagnetic spectrum measurement. That's the actual wording in the launch kit. No joke. It's apparently a military intelligence satellite, according to the Times of India, that, quote, will be used to sniff out enemy radars and for collecting imagery and communication intelligence, end quote. So there's that. All right, thanks for the bits, Veronica. Here, have some more bits, dogs. They are not tolerating the deconstruction well. All right, so now we can talk about this picture. So this picture is the payload inside of the fairing. I imagine that's EMISAT at the very top, and like I said, there's 28 other satellites And these 28 other satellites are all CubeSats of various sizes. This is not in Israel, this is in India. Yeah. And I don't remember what the launch site in India is for. I don't remember which launch site. I typically don't pay attention to launch sites too much, unless it's in the US. I just know this is leaving out of India. So, this, yeah, the payload is inside of the fairing. They have a whole lot of stuff going on. The fourth stage, they're actually going to use as an orbital platform, which typically provides a microgravity environment for experiments. And they got 3 things going on. One is automatic identification system for maritime use of capturing messages transmitted by ships. Ooh, that's a mouthful. So, yeah, ships typically have a radio. This will help capture the stuff from the radios. Second is automatic packet repeating system for amateur radio, which is meant to assist ham radio operators in tracking and monitoring position data. But that's not what I think of when I hear packet repeating. Packet repeating is typically, a packet's just a chunk of data that's sent over, so that's usually done with computers. So finally, the third thing is science. And that experiment is called Advanced Retarding Potential Analyzer for Ionospheric Studies. Oh, wow, that's a mouthful. And that's studying the structural and compositional studies of the atmosphere. It's studying the structure and composition of the atmosphere. There we go. All right. So I'm not going to talk about too much of the other 28 satellites other than they are CubeSats, but 24 are from the US, 2 are from Lithuania, excuse me, 1 is from Spain, and 1 is from Switzerland. And for the most part, they're just bunches of CubeSats put together. I think the largest one is a 6-unit CubeSat, and that's the 2x3, so just imagine a Lego block, a 2x3 Lego block. The USA has so many going up because they're putting up 2 constellations. So there you go. Whatever Flock 4 Alpha is 20 of those CubeSats, and that's for Earth observation. And Lemurs, not joking about the name, Lemurs is a vessel automatic identification system, probably also for maritime use. Whew. Okay. So, yeah. We kind of scroll up, and yeah, alright. So yeah, ISRO's doing a launch. It's gonna be really cool. And yeah, Lemurs in space. Woo! Tinker's whining. Have a cheerio, Tinker. Thank you for the links for India's launch site. Alright, so the Beresheet update. And Ambius from our Discord, thank you very much. Helped me out with some updates. So this week they performed 2 maneuvers. The first raised it up away from Earth. So it's over 400,000 kilometers from Earth. And the second maneuver was to align their orbital plane with that of the moon. So yeah, it's going to be captured by the moon soon. There's a whole bunch of technical time here, or technical terms, but I'm just going to scroll through that. Lunar capture maneuver will be on the 4th. That's like, yeah, that's a little more than a week away. That's pretty cool. So this image was taken at, I think, 131 kilometers away from Earth. And it does have, I do have some information about the camera. Beresheet's camera system is an RGB color, 8 megapixel Imperex Bobcat Bravo 3320 Charlie with Ruda optics. If that means something to you, good. It has a 60 by 80 degree field of view and a resolution of 2,488 by 3,312 pixels. And as Ambia says, it's a nice wide field of view with plenty of pixels, similar to the extent that they can be compared to the human eye, or roughly equivalent to a DSLR with a 21mm focal length. Yeah. So, yeah, it's pretty freaking cool. And then the other image I have for you is this one that was taken 250,000. 250,000, there we go. 250,000 kilometers away from Earth. So, yeah, we totally got the little blue speck going on. So these pictures are really... Sorry about that. I know I am muted because my dogs were still barking. And now we're just going to do this. Now we're just going to do this with dogs in my lap. Well, a dog in my lap. I don't have enough room for both. Yeah, I know. Can you lay down? There you go. Yeah, they hear the big, mean, crunching monsters. So, whew, those were our launches. That was our Beresheet update. And the last thing I have to talk to you guys about is the spacewalk that was promised, but isn't going to happen because government issue stuff doesn't fit women well. Yeah. So, we were promised an all-female spacewalk. And it's not happening, literally because government issue stuff doesn't fit well on women. And yes, I can attest that this is actually really a thing, because the Army only makes uniforms... Actually, I take it back. Unless it's a maternity uniform, which is a whole different thing, by the way. Your standard issue uniform is, you know, essentially cut to fit a man. The Army is amazing and has all sorts of different sizes to get you into a really good fit, but the standard work uniform was really designed for men. So, yeah. Hanny asks, how is that a thing? Don't they fit them here on the surface? Yes. What happened is that I can't remember which astronaut, and I apologize for not remembering names, but the one, I think it was Christina, the one that had already done a spacewalk had been fitted here on Earth with a large suit. And the upper part of the suit is a rigid fiberglass, but it's very rigid. There's no bend in it. And she did the first spacewalk in that large, and she decided that she was very uncomfortable in it, and she would perform much better in the medium. So, oh, it was Anne. Okay, so it's Anne Haig, I think? No, Nick Haig. So it's Anne. All right, thank you for the correction. So it's Anne who went into the spacewalk. Here you go, Tinker. So it's Anne that did the spacewalk. She did it in the large, and she wasn't comfortable. And first of all, safety first, always. And second of all, NASA has these uppers in small through extra large. And we have a whole bunch more of them here on the surface than we do up in ISS. And for a while, NASA had decided we're going to not keep the smalls and the extra larges up on the ISS. We're just going to keep the medium and the large, which there were men that were like, look, I don't fit into the large. I need the extra large. So extra larges went back up, but the small ones never went back up. We didn't send up any extra mediums. So the one that hadn't walked yet, I'm assuming, had been fitted into a medium. So essentially they needed 2 mediums. They may actually have that number, but it might need refurbished or retrofitted. In whatever reason, it's not ready. And it's important for these things to be ready and for everybody fitted properly for their own safety. So I'm mostly annoyed that fitting for women and women astronauts haven't been taken as seriously as it is for men. So yeah, the spacewalk's still going to happen. I think it happens on the 29th still. It's still going to be a 6-hour experience. So yeah, just imagine somebody much bigger than you getting like a refrigerator box and, you know, cutting head and armholes out that are just perfect for them, and then you put on that box. It's not going to fit you right. You're not going to be able to move around in them. So yeah. I know, right, Puck? Yeah. It's disappointing, but this is the norm. I think I read on Twitter that there was actually a female astronaut that had to put padding in her EVA so she could properly use it. Yeah. But yeah, the spacewalk's going to happen. It's still going to have female, women, ground team. It's still going to have a female on it. It's just going to be a male swapped in, you know, so it can get done, because this is a 2-person job. And this is why they've cross-trained. And this is a very important reason for cross-training and so on and so forth. So, yeah. Paranor says, we hadn't thought of that, says a group full of men. Yeah. Body armor. Hey, the body armor I wore when, you know, that I was fitted for when I was deployed, totally made for men. Totally. Yeah. My mom was not impressed as she is 6'4". Oh my goodness. How many pads do you for a week-long trip? Is 100 enough? Isn't that awesome? I am always amused by that when I see that. All right, so we're going to flip away from this, and I am going to answer questions, because I'm sure there are questions that I've missed. And I'm going to scroll way back up. If you have questions on anything I've talked about, go ahead and @ me so I can see them, but I'm going to scroll way up because I'm sure I missed a few. And if the dogs bark, I apologize. I have one of them in my lap. All right, so Larry Weird and Proud made a comment about how SpaceX needs to teach Chinese how to broadcast a launch. China purposely does not broadcast their launches. It's a save the face kind of thing. Wow, y'all are so chatty that I can't actually, see everything. I know, Puck. I know. Tinker's like, but I hear things. Tinker, there. Go eat a Cheerio. I know. Scrolling down. Hey, don't pack the air so tight. Oh, somebody. Here, you get first crunch. All right. Scrolling down. What molecule was that? So the molecule I lifted up, which I'll show you guys again, and the doggy cam is getting moved everywhere. So this is, I know, So this is a molecule of Captain, which is spelled Kilo, nope, sit, Alpha, Papa, Tango, Oscar, November. It is a polymer. I know, buddy. He's like, but I want some Cheerios, Mom. All right. Hold on. There, put him down. It was a molecule of Captain. It's a polymer, so that just means there's a lot of these units repeating. Right? DNA, I guess, is kind of a polymer. So just think of those repeating, and that's what that antenna, the really thin membrane antenna on the R3D2 is made out of. And I thought that was fascinating, so I made a molecule out of it. So hello to people I have missed. Gian, that's how I'm going to pronounce your name. Folded satellites, yes. That is indeed what the R3D2 is. They've essentially origamied that antenna inside. Hold on. Okay, there we go. Let's see, we've answered how many launch locations China has. I'm sure those toilets were lost causes, yeah. Israel Space. No, I don't have the logo for Israel's space, space thing. ISRO is an interesting logo, though. I am literally trying to keep the dogs quiet by tossing them Cheerios. Scrolling. Oh, Lady Pembroke says, same reason I had trouble finding a GI that fit when I was doing martial arts. The pants are just too narrow through the hips. Yeah. Yeah, the nice thing about the last version of ACU, which I think stands for Advanced Combat Uniform pants, and the BDUs had them too, the battle dress uniform, was that they had tabs on the size. So what they do is they essentially give you pants that fit over your hips, and then between the belt and the tabs, you just pull them in to fit your waist. Which, not perfect, but... Alright, Cheerios! Oh, I'm getting down to the dust in the thing. So, Trucker Kev asks, any idea how much better at all SpaceX suits are? I don't think, or rather, I don't know if SpaceX suits are EVA rated. The suits that they use for spacewalks are very different than the suits that they launch in. And I don't know if, I don't know anything about any of that. And as Jandra says, the EVA suits have better radiation and temperature control than the launch suits, which, yeah, makes sense because they're out there without, you know, the protection of a spacecraft. Yeah, and Jandra says, yep, any kind of bulletproof gear is built for men only, which is very uncomfortable when things are designed for a flat chest and you do not have a flat chest. It's very bizarre. As far as helmets, the ones that I've used, they have, I think there were multiple size of helmets or multiple size of inserts, but the last helmet I used had a lot of adjustable inserts. It wasn't comfortable, but it did the trick. Yep, it was indeed a molecule. Can you affirm that ISS astronauts share spacesuits? They do. They are reused, and they're refurbished or checked up or something occasionally, but there's only ever, there's only, so, like, these things take time, and it takes away from the astronauts' time if they have to fix them. Hanny says, I'm surprised they don't send the correct fitted suits for specific astronauts that are going. People in general are so different. As Paranor says, part of it is expense, and part of it is what they thought would work in gravity does not work in microgravity. Like, Anne thought that the large would be fine, but I imagine in microgravity it just literally floated off of her shoulders and made it, you know, tricky to do whatever she needed to do. So even in the pool, because they have this huge training pool, even in the pool they can't really simulate how the suits are going to fit in microgravity, because you have all the water and all the air pressure pressing the suit down, along with gravity pulling it down. So, yeah. Refurbished at the ISS. I think they can refurbish them on the ISS. I mean, if they can refurbish a toilet on the space shuttle, I don't see why they can't refurbish them on the ISS. But I'm not 100% sure about all of that. So, yeah, it's tricky, it's unfortunate, and part of me is just annoyed. Like, we had small space. Deconstruction is good. Deconstruction is good. Deconstruction is good. Oh yeah, that will eventually be covered, how they had to refurbish the toilet on the space shuttle. Thanks for the link string, Terry. I will check that out later. I do indeed have a good alarm system if I am ever attacked by bulldozers. I have a good alarm system if there are kids walking down the street. I have a good alarm system if somebody knocks on the door. They are not so great though when they're sleeping, but you know, they're dogs. They're allowed to sleep too. So yeah, it's hard being a mom. Yeah. So this is the last call for questions. While I do that, I'm going to essentially do, you know, station identification stuff. Woo! So, this Daily Space is a part of CosmoQuest. We stream Sunday through Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern, which right now is 13 plus 4, 1700 hours UTC. And about, 10 a.m. West Coast time? Yeah, I think it's 10 a.m. West Coast time. And yeah, Monday through Friday, come check out Daily Space, get the latest news on space-related things. When I do Daily Space, we talk about launches and spacecraft and, you know, assorted things. So some weeks are like this, and there's a whole lot going on, and we'll go over long, and some weeks are much shorter because, you know, there might not be any launches that week. We are brought to you by you. Thank you for all of your generous donations, bits, subscriptions, merch purchases, all of that. Thank you so much. If you can't afford to, you know, buy bits to watch Cheerios be pelted at the dogs, that's okay. Follows are free. Sitting and chatting with us is free. Come hang out in our Discord with us. That's also free. I mean, please, you know, you don't have to spend money to enjoy science. That's okay. What else? Oh, yeah. We are part of... CosmoQuest is now part of Planetary Science Institute. Planetary Science? Planetary Space. I can never... Science! Yes! I had it right the first time. Yes! There are two... Excuse me. Planetary Science Institute out of beautiful, sunny Tucson, Arizona, and Youngstown State University here in Youngstown. Oh my goodness, is it sunny today? Youngstown, Ohio. Yeah. I would say come to the website and do some science, but we're still working on getting all the things up from when we did the site refurbish. So yeah, be patient and we'll get some science up that you can do. Alright, so I'm going to look for questions, going to toss some Cheerios at the dogs, and try not to get Cheerio dust all over my keyboard. Oh, thank you for the bits journey started! Here, we're just going to scooch over here and dump. Boo! Alright, I will clean the dust up off my desk later. Alright, so thank you so much for the bits. Alright, scroll back up, because I don't think I missed any questions. Has anybody tried to do remote control of robots in space from the surface? That is actually how we control Curiosity. And that is how they are going to control the Astro Bees on the ISS whenever they get there. And I think that's it. Yeah! Or if you're talking about using a robot to build things, like on the ISS, I think the Canada arm is operated from the ISS. I don't think we're to the point of putting robots outside of the ISS to build or repair things. We're not to that point. So, but yeah, we totally can control robots that are on other worlds, in other craft from the ground. We have the technology, thanks to all of the satellites we've ever put in orbit. Yeah, I'm just gonna think about that one for a second. Anyways, so, as Jandra confirmed, yes, the Canada arm is controlled locally. And yeah, so yeah, I think that's it. I am going to go and get ready for dealing with the deconstruction across the street for the rest of the day. Journey started says India shot down a satellite. Okay then. I think maybe I heard something about that on the news today. I'm not sure. I didn't want to go down that rabbit hole this morning. Oh yeah, and the 3D printer on the ISS has made 150 parts by now. Yeah. Yeah. Go printer. But yeah, I don't have any information on whatever India did. I know it popped up in my news this morning and I didn't have time to cover it. So we can talk about that another day. Dear world, be good. And as for all of you, be kind to each other. Enjoy the weather if it's nice where you are. Have a wonderful morning, evening, day, afternoon, whatever it is, wherever you are in the world, because y'all are all over the world. And I will see you Sunday! So yeah, I'm going to awkwardly roll the credits and find somebody to raid. I typically go to the Knowledge Fellowship Discord, which we are a part of, to find somebody to raid, and oh yeah. But yeah, thank you all for tuning in, and yeah, I'll see you on Sunday. Bye!